She got her fan club front and center, and after knowing her for 2 days, I can understand. I get it. Kathy, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, what you do for a living, family, pets, and most importantly, what do you like to do for fun?
Again, my name is Kathy. First and foremost, actually, I was going to say my name is Kathy and I'm an addict. That's what I do for fun, if you understood what just happened. I am a mother to 5 kids. I work full-time at the F5 project in Fargo. I also go to school at MSUM. I am there to do social work and minor in juvenile justice. Yeah.
Right on, Kathy. She's a busy woman. In the process of getting ready for this, we visited a little bit on Zoom before, and you shared with me a dream for yourself that you had when you were 7 years old, and I think this kind of sets the stage for where you are now nicely. Can you share that dream with the group?
If you would have asked me at 7 years old what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I have proof of this. I found a piece of paper of this that I had wrote this at school in 3rd grade. But if you would have asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have told you I wanted to be a social worker. I also would have told you that I wanted to do foster care. The reason for that is I grew up in foster care. That took over a big portion of my life. So even at 7 years old, I understood the importance of social workers, and most of my life had also been spent in foster homes. So I also understood what it was like to be in foster care, and I wanted to be a good foster mom one day.
I think that's cool that you're kind of like you're there now, but unfortunately sometimes these cycles can perpetuate themselves, and your life from 7 until today wasn't without struggle. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I am a product child of addiction. So what that means is I was raised in foster care, as I said. I dealt with a lot of abandonment issues, a lot of abuse of every realm, you name it, and I suffered from it. One of the main things that really paved way and set my addiction up for success, if we look at it in that light, was crisis identity. When I was in foster care, my foster mom, she had no ill will, but one time she was driving down Broadway with me, and she made sure to point out all of the drunk Indians getting drunk and digging through garbages. And at that time, I was really ashamed to be Native American. I felt really gross with myself, and I didn't like it. ICW had stepped in right when I was about to be adopted, and I went to the reservation. I'm an enrolled member of Mille Lacs Lake. I'm very proud of that now. But once I got there, I was the little white girl, and nobody liked me. So I really just didn't like anything about myself, you know? A lot of that went to like my learned behaviors too. Unfortunately, I was labeled as a neglectful and abusive parent to my 2 children because I was. That's what my actions did, because of the learned behaviors that I had. And yeah, so CPS was a big part of my life because they had taken my children there for a while.
Kathy, you've been through a lot of stuff, and a lot of that trauma, both that happened to you as a child and as a result of being in active addiction, played its role in your life. And you and I talked about the importance of like working through that and healing through that trauma. And you shared about how your culture has played a role in healing through that trauma. Let us know how that has worked out.
Yeah. So with that crisis identity, when I came into recovery, I went to an amazing place for treatment. I thought it was amazing. Actually in East Grand Forks at Douglas Place is where I went to treatment, and they had yeah, it was fun. And at that time, they had an indigenous part that they like let us take over, or let us do for ourselves. And I remember when I first learned how to introduce myself in my language, oh my gosh, that sent a shock of healing through my body that I didn't even understand. You know, the first time I had heard the drum in there, it had been years since I had heard that, it woke my spirit up. You know, moving forward, just being like smudging every day. The first time I got to go into the lodge was amazing. You know, further on down the road, I was able to learn my name, which is Ginu Gabawi Ikwe Widokag, and that means Golden Eagle Standing Women Who Helps the People. And that's what I get to do nowadays, you know?
I think that's just amazing. Representation matters. Advocating for people who are like us, who look like us. We talked about earlier, focusing on the similarities, not the differences. But finding people like you who are speaking up about your recovery and things that can happen in your recovery, like you're helping people today. And let's talk a little bit about that. Just briefly, how are you using your story to impact the people in your community today?
So, with all of this experience that I had with foster care, I was in foster care, my kids were in foster care. I now get to do foster care, and I got to adopt 2 of my nieces, which was amazing. Every day I get to work with people doing reentry, stuff from the prison systems, people who struggle with mental health and addiction, and that's my favorite. I also get to mentor at schools, so I get to be everywhere.
I think that's cool. And there's so much of recovery work is looking back and doing that like inner child work and walking that kid through the healing, and to see you living and working towards your dreams today of that 7-year-old Kathy, I think it's just absolutely beautiful. Let's close this out with the same way we've done all of these. Kathy, what is a positive that recovery has brought into your life that you want to share with the group today?
This is great. When I was little, I knew that my mom drank every day. I knew that my family was abusive. I knew that foster homes were abusive. I knew what trauma was. That was my everyday norm. Nobody explained to me why that was happening. So today, I've learned how to break the cycle with my kids. If you guys ask my 7-year-old son what addiction is, he'll tell you exactly what it is. He'll tell you that he knows that he can't drink when he gets older because it gives him bad choices. So I learned how to break the cycle by recovering loudly.
I love it. Recover out loud, Kathy, and that's what everybody who's come up and shared today, I think, is amazing. And I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing and for being that voice for the people who don't have one. Recovery Reinvented. Let's give it up for Kathy one more time.
Thank you.
Be up there?